This is my MacBook, and these are the 5 most popular MacBook accessories that claim to protect your Mac but can actually severely damage it over time. So let's go from the least harming to the most alarming. Plus, I'll show you safer and cheaper options along the way, starting with MacBook cases, because there's a lot of chatter online about 2 big risks. They add weight to the MacBook that can, over time, wear out the fragile hinge. Plus, they trap warm air inside, causing the MacBook to overheat. And honestly, that sounded pretty legit. But then I thought, hang on, if this hinge can handle an iPhone Pro Max for continuity camera, which is basically a brick in phone form, then how is a lightweight plastic case going to cause any damage? Plus, it's even more interesting that Apple actually sells a couple of hard cases in their store, and we both know how picky they are about what they sell. So, only one way to find out. I ordered a MacBook case from the Apple Store, and here are 2 boxes to tick before slapping one on your MacBook. For starters, make sure it's as thin as possible, especially those tabs that snap onto the bottom half of the MacBook. If they stop the lid from closing properly, it can indeed put pressure on the display or even slightly bend it. And I'd leave that job to the curved monitor on your desk. Now, about the overheating concern. On MacBook Pros, it's easy. Make sure it has vent cutouts to let hot air escape. On MacBook Airs, however, we don't have vents. They use their whole body to dissipate heat. A case could be more of a problem here, so you might want to check if it's getting too warm during heavy use. But overall, in most cases, what a bad script, MacBook cases aren't the real problem. Here's where things are getting far more serious. There's a decent chance you've come across a keyboard cover online, like this one from Amazon. They all make 2 promises: protect the keys from getting worn and shiny, plus to block any particles, let's be real, mostly food crumbs, from sneaking in. And if you've ever dealt with a sticky key, you know that this is a whole new level of rage. So, why aren't keyboard covers the solution? Well, ignoring the fact that we get a worse typing experience when slapping a cheap piece of Temu plastic onto our MacBook, and I mean much worse, this feels like, I don't know, typing on marshmallows. Well, aside from that, it can actually damage a far more expensive part of your MacBook: the display. You see, MacBooks are built with a tiny gap between the keyboard and display when closed. When we slap a keyboard cover into that gap, it can widen it or press against the screen. This might, over time, not saying it will, damage the display or leave permanent marks. Source: Reddit. But if you don't take my or Mr. Reddit's word for it, take Apple's. They specifically warn against putting anything thicker than a sheet of printer paper between the keyboard and display. So, this one has to go. Better options: either ditch the cover whenever you close your MacBook, or now and then wipe the keyboard with a damp microfiber cloth. You could buy Apple's own cloth. I've paid mine off in 9 installments, or just grab a cheap no-name one. Plus, if there's crumbs in your keyboard, you can grab a bottle of compressed air. Hold your MacBook at an angle, spray carefully between the keys, and any stuck particles should easily fly out. I link Apple's guide to that down below. And hey, maybe stop using your laptop as a dinner plate. Okay, moving on, I didn't get this from my dealer, but from Amazon. And inside this bag that just screams dropshipping are webcam covers. And I'd say that's probably the most widespread accessory on this list. But there's absolutely no reason for them. I'll tell you why in a sec. But for starters, again, because the sticker puts punctual pressure on parts of the display where it shouldn't be, there's a tiny risk that over time it can crack your screen. Plus, this time there's another a bit less severe reason. You see, if we look closely at the MacBook's notch, we'll find that there's not just a camera up there, but also another small dot. That's the ambient light sensor, which automatically adjusts the screen's brightness and color temperature, depending on the light in your environment. Let me show you. When I shine a cool, very bright LED light onto the display, the brightness jumps up. Now, switching over to a warmer tone, the display reacts by turning more yellow. And if I cover the sensor with my finger, the brightness immediately drops. A webcam cover can have the same effect by blocking both the camera and the ambient light sensor. So if you still decide to use one, check if it's blocked and if it is, switch off True Tone and automatic brightness. Otherwise, you'll end up with a dim screen most of the time. But you might not even want one when you understand how your webcam works. Whenever your camera switches on, you'll also see a green LED next to it. And you might say, okay, if someone hacks my webcam, they can just hack this light too, right? Well, I get the logic, but that's why this green light is wired to the webcam's power circuit, so it can't do anything but turn on when the webcam is active. It's not controlled by software and can't be bypassed remotely. So even in the very rare case that someone hacks your camera, the light will inform you and you can wave hello. Though if you still want to stick something on your webcam, no shame in that. Make sure it's not much thicker than a normal piece of paper and the lid still closes properly. So a good old post-it note might actually be the best option here. But we can take things to a whole new level of risk with screen protectors. At first glance, they shouldn't cause any problems. I mean, unlike webcam covers, they're super thin, basically just a sheet of paper. The lid still closes flawlessly and it even keeps the keyboard from touching the screen. Plus, we also stick them on our smartphones without any issues. So, what's the catch? For starters, the obvious. The display quality will take a noticeable dive. Screen protectors add a layer of plastic that can scatter light, slightly reduce clarity, and add more glare. Plus, because the MacBook has such a big display, sticking a screen protector on without air bubbles might be one of the biggest challenges of your whole life. But the real issue isn't when it's on the display. It's when you try to take it off. You see, there are plenty of reports about people taking off their screen protectors only to find their display looking like this. The reason being that MacBook displays are vastly different to those of smartphones. Apple puts an anti-reflective coating on its laptop displays. It's the final layer that's there to reduce reflections and naturally wears off over long periods of time. However, it looks like the strong adhesive of some screen protectors can peel parts of it off. And again, there are better options. I need to empty my trash. If you really want to use a screen protector, you could buy one that attaches magnetically or go for one that only sticks around the edges of the display. But the cheapest option is just to keep your display clean. But even more so than screen protectors, no-name third-party chargers and cables can not only damage your MacBook, but also your health. I even have a close friend who needed a charger in a hurry, but understandably didn't want to spend a lot of money. So where did he go? One of those street repair shops. You know, the kind with names like iRepair or iFix that seem to pop up overnight. Turns out he got more than he paid for in the form of his charger turning into a mini campfire. He's fine, but the point being, good chargers have safety precautions like over voltage protection, temperature control to prevent overheating, and high quality components, all which very cheap chargers can lack. And just to clarify, with this I don't want to say only buy ridiculously expensive chargers like the ones from Apple. You can easily go for quality third-party devices from brands like Anker, Ugreen, or even Amazon Basics. They're quite affordable, well-known, and reviewed. Just don't go on AliExpress, eBay, or into one of these cheap street shops and buy the knockoff versions that look like genuine Apple chargers. Alright, hardware sorted. If you now want to know how to get the most out of your MacBook software, you could watch this video next. Alright, I will see you there. Thanks for watching and have an amazing day.